Good morning, this is Atsala Kamama, and I wanted to make a little video this morning concerning self-sufficiency. On YouTube, some people call it the prepper community or prepping. Personally, I would not consider myself a prepper per se, and frankly, I really don't like the term or using that term because I think people that might be on the fence or could be interested in taking care of their preps in the future are perhaps I don't want to say turned off, but I think some people immediately will think of the extreme of some of these folks on TV that, have spent $300,000 on an underground bunker and have 30 years worth of, freeze-dried food or, I think that my own personal opinion is that maybe more people would become interested if you went about it in a more of like a self-sufficiency type of way as opposed to I'm preparing for this disaster or I'm preparing for this at least to get their foot in the door and then to get them to get their foot in the door, and that's exactly how it happened for me. Actually, my brother, who we'll talk about a little bit later, is kind of got my foot in the door in that type of a way, which comes to I'm going to answer 6 questions: why, who, what, when, where, and how. The why for me is very simple. um, I'm not concerned about biological warfare or a nuke being dropped on my head or anything like that at this point in time. Uh, my main concern is going to be a slow, painful economic collapse, depression, whatever you want to call it. Um, loss of job. I think job loss uh, or hyperinflation would be the two that I would be most concerned with as far as the nature of my husband's job. Depends on other businesses to be running in order for his service to be needed. And if businesses start shutting down or running less hours, his business will also be affected. So, anyway, that's the why. Economic problems. Who? In my own personal family, there's me, my teenage daughter, and my husband. My husband is on the board. My daughter thinks we're kind of, then nothing's going to happen. Okay. But along with the who, as I mentioned, my brother. Now, I have a brother and his wife and his daughter, who's elementary school age. He's the one who actually got me into this idea, worked me into the whole, you know, idea of it all. He's been an outdoorsman since we're both trained to use firearms, but I don't hunt. I'm the only person in my immediate family that doesn't hunt, actually. But he's a big outdoorsman, things like this. Um, so he's always been interested in like wilderness survival, camping skills, things of this nature. Um, but he the nature of his work could also be affected by an economic collapse, most definitely. So you know, but there's 6 of us. That's not including my parents. My mom and my dad are both still alive. Um, and which brings me to what? What am I doing to prepare? And I will say I'm very excited to announce that about a week ago, our offer was accepted on a 3-acre farm, exactly halfway between my brother's suburban house and my parents' house way out in the sticks. So, not only have I decided we're leaving our apartment for a home in the country so that we have space to grow, space to store. I'm leaving a 950 square foot apartment that we pay $900 a month for to an 1,100 square foot house on 3 acres with a full basement unfinished for half the price that we're paying here. Okay, so that gives us additional money to perhaps pay double payments for a while to get ahead in case somebody loses a job, invest money in food, etc. When am I doing this? Well, to be honest, I've kind of um, stopped buying a little bit extra because we are going to be moving in a couple months, and uh, admittedly, it's going to be a little difficult to move, a big old bunch of canned goods from here to there, and so we're going to slow it down. I've got about a month's worth of food here, at all times. So, as a matter of fact, I just recently kind of started putting this stuff together. I've always wanted to live in the country, and I've always liked gardening, but as far as actually storing ahead and being more serious about its reason. Um, when? When? No. Um, where? We live in the Midwest part of the country. We're north of the Ohio River, east of the Mississippi River, west of Lake Erie, in that general area. Um, you might find me to be a little secretive. At this point in time, I'm not comfortable, showing my face or saying exactly where I stay or anything like that. Um, I like my privacy. I like to remain anonymous, at least for right now. And the how. How am I prepping? Well, like I said, I'm moving to a more safe location, which is actually going to be my brother's bug out area. He's going to come to my house first, and then if we have to continue to move further out into the sticks, we'll caravan together um, out to my parents' house. That's assuming that, um, we'll have gas, which we're going to store gas enough for both our vehicles to get out to my parents. But, that's assuming, um, anyway, we're getting enough for a year's worth of food for 6 people at my house. Perhaps even longer. We're working on that. Um, like I said, everybody in my family hunts, so we've got firearms, we've got ammunition, and plenty of it. Um, I'm going to be having a 1.5 to 2 acre total area of gardening space. Like I said, I enjoy gardening. It's actually a hobby of mine. We're also going to invest in to start with 3 laying hens and 2 goats, which will be uh, well, they're going to be our mowers for out back for one. They're going to be used to make compost, and I would like to train them to pull carts to help me out in the big garden area. I'm not physically very, I'm not a very sturdily built person. I'm actually short and fairly physically weak. So, yeah, I'm going to use my goats as sort of my workhorses. Um, on top of that, I am learning new skills. Um, I started learning to sew when I was very young, very young. I've been sewing for about 30 years. I know how to can. I just got a new canner. I'd always canned with my grandma in the past. Um, I think my brother's getting me a dehydrator for Christmas. If not, I'm going to be buying one. I am familiar with that. My parents have one of those. Um, I want to learn more about cheese making. I think that's very interesting. I'm trying to learn more recipes completely from scratch. Um, I have a tendency to buy box mixes and go about it the lazy man's way. Right now I'm working on breads. Um, and my husband has quite a few, huntings. He can hunt, he can fish. I can fish as well. Uh, he likes to build things. He likes to tinker with electronics. Um, so that's how we plan to survive. Um, hopefully what we're doing will be enough